She's not wasting any time. Peggy Sue and Mr. Square Root.
He's a nice guy. He's writing a book.
Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. Life is but a dream. It's what you make it. Always try to give. Don't ever shake it. Life has its music. Life has its song. Life is but a dream.
Hey everybody, welcome back to What the Hell Happened to Them? A title fight is brewing. That's right, this season, Eddie Murphy versus Jim Carrey. I am your host, Patrick Skeyhill, and joining me on the line is a man who looks great for a corpse, Joe Vekeman.
Thanks. Just always a dig right at the beginning. It's
What?
You know, it hurts. Sometimes I get a compliment.
And on the audio boards is Love Van Rensselaer, reminding me to remind you that you can email the cast at whathappenedtothemcast@gmail.com. And our sponsor this week is Tom's Tom Toms. You're looking for some great drums? Tom on down to Tom's Tom Toms. Tom on down, huh, Lev?
Yeah, I heard it. Tom on down.
All right. What movie are we doing this week, Joe?
We watched a man who's been in the headlines recently, Francis Ford Coppola's Peggy Sue Got Married.
Yeah, there was a set where they go outside and look at the stars in the woods and stuff, and I'm like, boy, can't wait to compare that crappy set to whatever he's going to do in Metropolis.
You know, the 80s was a weird time for Coppola.
Yes, we'll get into all that. What happens in Peggy Sue something?
Peggy Sue Got Married? Well, Peggy Sue faints at a high school reunion. When she wakes up, she finds herself in her own past, just before she finished school.
All right, I'm going to say it because we're all thinking it. What the F is Nick Cage doing?
The voice?
Any of it. There's one scene where he's like skulking around like a Dracula. And I'm wondering if Coppola was watching and went, that gives me a good idea.
5 years later, I thought I had seen, like I told you, I had seen this one before, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that being fine. And then I watched it again, I'm like, what is this? What is this? Nicolas Cage is... Do you know the relation to Coppola?
Yes,
to Francis?
and
it's his nephew?
Yeah, this movie's like nepotism.
Oh, so you saw Sophia too.
Equally acting not great.
Well, I mean, he didn't take notes from that one because he was like, how about a bigger role in The Godfather Part 3?
He's got them damn dad goggles on. It's a tough place to be in this biz.
I mean, this is with the exception of Wherever You Fall on his Dracula movie, this is a really stinky period for Coppola. This is just very strange. He's sunk a studio, right? He's sunk an entire studio.
He has such a turbulent, vicissitudinous career the man has, right? Like his films are either
so
insane,
interesting. It's so interesting to follow.
Insane art prop up films that whatever the most, like The Godfather was like the most profitable film for decades.
Yeah,
but then also like this Jack.
Well, let's just quickly jump around a little bit.
Well,
so.
I you said you'd watched it. I had only ever seen like bits of this on Comedy Central in like the early 2000s, and I am left with the same question I had when I was watching it, 20 years ago, and that is this movie funny? Why is this on Comedy Central? I don't get it.
The only thing that's funny is how strange Nicolas Cage's character portrayal.
Is this like his first thing? Like, I just so
No,
confused.
that's rude. There's plenty more before this.
Well, okay.
Okay. Well, let's jump into that first. So Nicolas Cage before this, I know his first credit is. Do you know? Do you know his first credit ever?
No, I thought it was this.
No, it's not. His first credit is Fast Times at Ridgemont High, where it's a mostly non-speaking role, but...
Okay, I don't remember him in that at all. Maybe that's why.
He's hanging out with your friend, Judd Reinhold. Is it Judge or is it Judd?
Judge.
Now I can't remember.
It's Judge Reinhold.
Judge Reinhold.
Because
yes.
it's Judd Hirsch. That was
Judd
the confusion.
Hirsch. That's it. There we go. We figured it out. No.
Hey, why didn't that show ever have Judd and Judge in the morning, right? A little like talk radio show.
That's an idea.
That'd be cool. I'm going to call up their agents. They got nothing going on.
I mean, he's very old.
Yeah, so what? He just did a sitcom like 6 years ago, which I kind of liked.
Hirsch?
It was in Superior Donuts, and it had Peggy Bundy and that bald guy from like Anchorman and those types of movies.
Oh, David Koechner?
Yeah, and there were a couple others. It was a bit of a stacked cast. It was kind of cool.
Okay. It's funny that Katie Seagal was like, give me another show. I just did 8 seasons of Sons of Anarchy with my husband. I need another show immediately.
Yeah, that was interesting. It was like Judd Hirsch was like for the really old crowd, and then Katie Seagal's for the kind of old crowd, and then they had this like up and coming guy, and like it was like a really multi-generational kind of show. You just don't see that too much these days. It's pretty cool.
That is cool. Yeah. So Nicolas Cage
of
was
course
in Fast
canceled
Times
after 2.5 years. Those little fuckers. Go on.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High was his first credit, followed by the next year Valley Girl. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Oh. Listen to this. Budget was $350,000, made $17 million. Not bad. Not bad for a nepo baby, right?
Yeah.
Because the next year the same year he's in Rumblefish, another Francis Ford Coppola movie. Then he's in Racing with the Moon.
Well, I don't know any of these movies, Joe.
That's okay, because that was with a young Sean Penn reuniting with his co-star from Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Ridgemont High, yeah.
Then he's in another Francis Ford Coppola movie called The Cotton Club.
Yeah, well, none of this is surprising me, quite frankly.
And then he's in this movie called Birdie with Matthew Modine, directed by Alan Parker. Framed narrative depicting their traumatic experiences upon serving the Vietnam War. Interesting. So he's got some strange ones. And then I feel like it's Peggy Sue Got Married, and he's like, okay, I like being weird. And the next year is when he hits his real stride, the double whammy of Raising Arizona and Moonstruck. So that's when Cage is off to the races. You know, Coen brothers in their, second movie? And then Norman Jewison with Moonstruck got Cher an Oscar.
Yeah, I don't think he was that great in Moonstruck, but I do think he's good in Raising Arizona.
He's incredible in Raising Arizona.
That's like, that almost feels like a role like, let's do it for this weird fucker, right? Like,
it does feel tailored to him, but I don't think it was, because who was he? He's just a random kid who's Coppola's nephew.
It is unlikely, but that's kind of like right the marriage between actor and role. Like,
yeah,
you don't have to be a Daniel Day-Lewis to be able to pull that off if you're already kind of in that zone anyway.
Yeah, and then let me tell you, 3 years later, Lynch gets a hold of him, and it's Wild at Heart.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on him in that one too.
Rude. How is that not one of your second favorite Lynches?
It's a very polarizing film within me, Patrick, the viewer.
Is it Laura Dern's mother, Diane Ladd, when she like that? There's a scene where she just puts red lipstick all over her face, and it's like there's like a Wizard of Oz like thing going on, and I'm like, that's like most of the movie, but it's just one of the scariest things I've ever seen in any movie, and I'm like, fuck, this is scary. This is great. And it's just a woman losing her mind in the mirror.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get back. Let's turn it back. We did some
Peggy Sue Got Married.
Yeah, this is Kathleen Turner's movie, though.
Yeah,
Kathleen Turner.
right off of Pritzi's Honor, I presume.
She is right off that set. Like hot off the set.
She took it off and she says, sorry, I got to go to a high school reunion where we all look great for our age.
I know. And then her daughter is Helen Hunt.
Yeah, that's going to make Helen Hunt feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Wait, you're my mom? We're the same age. What, Jim Carrey's... We're casting him as a guy twice his age? Okay.
Yeah, but he's good. He's sneaky good in this.
He does do a good impression of somebody's white-collar dad in the beginning.
That's a perfect way of putting that.
But you're right, I agree. He's quietly used in this.
Yes, but like so well in the back. Like he's more or less just like in the beginning, and then we see him like sporadically.
Yeah, like the first 2/3, I would say, because he's also like helping out Nick Cage when Kathleen Turner's sort of exploring what else high school has to offer, including beatniks and nerds. All of our childhood experiences, I know.
Beatniks and nerds. Yeah, I just the whirlwind of people in this, like Kevin J. O'Connor, who, do you know who that is? That was like her boyfriend that she was like trying, like, she wasn't trying to, like, they have the scene towards the end where they're like in a cafe or a diner or whatever, like, but it's like all dark, and he's like the cool kid and she wanted to be with him.
Oh no, he's the beatnik. He's like the rebel outsider.
He feels like a cool kid though. He
doesn't feel like a cool kid. She's with the cool kid. She's in like the popular crowd. And she's like, I wonder what the weird outsider guy was like. And he's just like, man, we gotta live on Utah, dude, and raise chickens.
Yeah,
that's not
cool.
That's not what a cool kid says. That's a beatnik dream. Yeah, polygamy's free out there. It's free love, babe. Come on, yeah. Jack Kerouac, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Kathleen Turner stated that Francis Ford Coppola was contractually obligated to finish the film on time or lose final cut privilege. Accordingly, the cast and crew worked 20 hours a day, 6 days a week to deliver the movie to studio on time. This movie is an hour and 40 minutes. It's not like it's...
What did they're like, all right, Francis, we'll let you do this movie, but you're going to do it in 2 weeks. Like, why do they have to work that hard?
I don't know.
He wasn't doing anything crazy in the movie.
No, and it's like, there's not like a ton of special effects that need to be done in the movie.
No.
For a time travel movie?
You gotta work him 20 hours a day? What are you, insane?
That's crazy. So it says, Turner has spoken numerous times about the difficulty of working with co-star Nicolas Cage, Coppola's nephew, in brackets. Yes, we know.
Who said that?
This is Kathleen Turner saying she was having a difficult time working with Nicolas Cage.
I'm not surprised.
But he's a kid. He's a kid, and he's a little like nepo baby at the time. So he's getting his sea legs.
I can see where Kathleen Turner's coming from, just based on the performance I was given.
Can you his voice?
I can see her trying to I don't think so. I could see her trying to be in the scene with him and listen to him, and she's like, "What the fuck are you?" Even some of his choices. Outside of the voice and his body language, I'm like, what is the motivation you're feeling here? I'm either confused or it's extremely cartoony.
She says in her 2008 memoir, he caused so many problems. He was arrested twice for drunk driving and I think once for stealing a dog. He'd come across a Chihuahua he liked and stuck it in his jacket. On the last night of filming, he came into my trailer after he'd clearly been drinking heavily. He fell on his knees and asked if I could ever forgive him. I said, not right now. I have to shoot a scene to shoot. Excuse me. And just walked out. Nicholas didn't manage to kill the film, but he didn't add a lot to it. For years, whenever I saw him, he'd apologize for his behavior. I'd say, look, I'm way over it, but I haven't pursued the idea of working with him again. It's kind of like the movie. Little art imitating life.
I love Kathleen Turner getting to that age where she's like, well, I haven't had a major role in years. Time to throw out all the shit.
Yeah. Turner also criticized Cage for his decision to wear false teeth and to adopt a nasal fry for his character. Cage said he based it on Pokey from The Gumby Show. For fuck's sake. Who asked for that?
You think Francis would have stepped in and been like, I don't think we're going to do that, Nick. Oh, come on. Don't you want to? Nope, we're not going to try it. I'm sorry.
Do you think he was just like, well, Marlon Brando used a funny voice for when he played The Godfather, and, he won an Oscar for it. My nephew, he's quite a character. You know, I think he's going to be something someday. I think he'll win an Oscar. And you know what? 9 years later, he did.
I think Nick Cage, actual crazy person, and so thought these were good ideas.
Crazy person.
I think that is what went down. I think Kathleen Turner is exactly right. I'm glad she and I are on the same page.
Well, as a Nicolas Cage fan and stan, I think he can do some wrong sometimes. But, you know, I'm happy that he's trying shit. Turner goes on to say, it was tough to not say, cut it out, but it wasn't my job to say to another actor what he should or shouldn't do. So I went to Francis. I asked him, you approved this choice? It was very touchy. He, Nicolas Cage, was very difficult on set, but the director allowed what Nicolas wanted to do with his role. So I wasn't in a position to do much except play with what I had been given. If anything, Cage's portrayal only further illustrated my character's disillusionment with the past. The way I saw it was, yeah, he was that asshole. Fuck.
Well, and
He's got the claws out.
I think Kathleen Turner also handled that on-set interaction quite well. I think that's exactly the way it should be done. And
she's great in this.
True, total professional. No wonder she could put up with Pritzi's honor.
Yeah, isn't Jack like a notorious asshole on set too? Back to back, she's like, fuck this. I'll go work with the little girl from Matilda.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
She's got like this Disney movie with Martin Short and Mara Wilson. Kathleen Turner does. It's like a Wish movie. I can't remember what it's called. It's like Wish something.
I feel bad that she had to do those, but Nicolas Cage has had a very long and productive Hollywood career.
It could have come out the same year that he won the Oscar.
Okay.
Because it's like Matilda, the Mara Wilson girl. I keep calling her Matilda. That's so rude. She had like a pocket. There was a window where she was like the little girl in all the movies. So it's like Matilda came out in 96, 94. So it's like that's right around when Cage won his Oscar in 95. So
Well, Kathleen Turner, I think you deserve better.
yes. In 2008, in response to Turner's claims that he had driven drunk and stolen a Chihuahua, Nicolas Cage sued her for defamation and won. What a dick. And also, that's like a really low point for Cage. He's just about to do the, oh my God, the Sorcerer's Apprentice for Disney. And his National Treasure franchise has kind of puttered out. And his box office like craziness isn't like what it was.
Franchise is a term to use loosely there, I think.
Hey, we were about to get a third one.
Well, now we got a TV show.
Yeah, and I think Harvey Keitel's on it. I'm not sure, which is crazy.
Poor Harvey Keitel.
80-year-old Harvey Keitel. Let him sleep. In exchange, he received a public apology from Turner, admission from her publisher that the claims were false and defamatory, and a pledge that Turner and the publisher would make a substantial donation to charity.
And yet, despite all of those facts, I still believe that he did it.
I kind of too. That really fits with his character.
I would definitely take her side on that. It just might not be provable because, you know, celebrities are above the law and maybe he got thrown out or whatever, you know.
But also, why would she make that up? What does she gain from making that up? I guess a little bit of a juicy chapter, but it's a chapter. What? Whatever. Leave her alone. Poor Kathleen Turner. This movie was in AFI's 100 years, 100 laughs.
I don't even know if I mustered 1/100th of a laugh.
That was in the year 2000. It might have been pushed out.
Yeah, you think so? You think a couple of funny movies have come out in the last 24 years, maybe? It just doesn't even seem like I wouldn't market this as a comedy. I just don't understand.
Yeah, this is like a quiet dramedy.
Yeah,
There's a little bit of like, haha, because it's like silly. It's not like funny.
It didn't even seem to try to make jokes when she was like, hey, we put a man on the moon. The guy didn't make a joke about it. He's just like, wow, that's cool. Like, that was it. There was no...
Yeah, I do remember that part. Wow.
There were no punchlines or anything. It just was like, it happened.
The film was adapted by Lechling and Sarner into a full-length musical theater production which opened in London's West End Theatre District in 2001. Despite receiving solid reviews and a several million-pound advance, 9/11 forced the show to close early. Fuck. Damn.
Well, shocker. 9/11 ruins somebody else's day, too. Who would have thought?
The film was originally going to star Deborah Winger and be directed by Jonathan Demme. Okay. I'll take it.
Whoa.
How do you feel about that? So that's a 100% different movie now. There's nothing the same. I don't even think you get Nicolas Cage because there's no nepotism in there. Or if you do get Nicolas Cage, he gets fired after a week because...
What was it, Deborah Winger movie we did, Terms of Endearment?
Yeah.
That would have been cool. I like Kathleen Turner going to Coppola. Yeah, this is what you wanted, huh? This was the goal.
This is what you wanted.
Okay. I don't think Demi's putting up with that. He's like, why are you doing the pokey thing? What are we doing here? You a cartoon? Is that what we're doing now?
Well, apparently Deborah Winger and Jonathan Demme had creative differences, and Demme left the project to be replaced by Penny Marshall.
Hey, all right. That just seems like a Penny Marshall joint.
Yeah. Who would be making her featured directorial debut? Then Marshall had creative differences with the writers and left the project. Winger then quit out of loyalty to Marshall. Marshall then made her directing debut with Jumpin' Jack Flash after the original director dropped out.
Hey, that tied back to our podcast. We're going to soon have like 6 degrees from our podcast, right?
I was doing that on purpose.
Helen Hunt was in our podcast.
Yeah, for another James L. Brooks movie.
Yeah.
Let me see here. What else do I got for you? Oh, let's see. What are this? This cost $18 million. Do you think it made its budget or it was a big old flop?
I think it was a flop.
Made $41 million.
What? Really?
Yeah, some people saw it. Yeah. Some people saw that little keyhole and said, I like Kathleen Turner. I'm going to go watch that movie.
They were like, wow, I really loved her in Pritzi's honor.
God. You won't let it go.
Let's go.
She was in a pretty big blockbuster with Michael Douglas that I'm stretching for the title now. Jesus. It's not The Jewel of Denial because that's the sequel. What is that movie called? Tell me. What's the Zemeckis movie called?
Forrest Gump.
That's not what it's called.
Back to the Future.
No, Jewel of the Nile.
A Christmas Carol.
Stop it. You're making it harder. What is the other movie that's not Romancing the Stone? Thank you. 2 years earlier, she was in Romancing the Stone, which made $115 million.
Well, that movie's like actually kind of good.
It's good. I like that movie.
Yeah, that's what I said. It's now Pritzi's honor.
Conflicting things here. Deborah Winger, when offered the role of Peggy Sue, had to back out because of a back injury from a bicycle accident. What do we believe?
I guess I wish I knew who the reports from the other one came from.
Me too.
Deborah Winger doesn't want to have solidarity with Penny Marshall. Seems odd.
Yeah.
A back injury.
Yeah, from a bike accident.
Well, a lesson about getting exercise, everybody. Don't do it.
Wow. This is Kathleen Turner's only Oscar-nominated performance.
This?
Rude.
This? It's just not like that. There's not a lot really going on here. This?
I mean, a little bit. There's a little bit.
Like, I guess it's the 80s. Maybe there's just nothing good. I don't know. What's the competition?
Was Kathleen Turner really in White House Plumbers?
Yes, she was. I talked about it, in fact.
I forgot about that.
It wasn't that long after we did the Pritzi's Honor one. She was in episode 2, I think.
Wow. I'm just going through her thing. I'm trying to find something else that she could have possibly gone. Oh, it's called A Simple Wish. It was in 97, so it was 2 years after Cage won his Oscar. She's been in some Simpsons episodes.
She sure has.
You know what her Oscar really is, though?
What?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You're welcome. Give it to her iconic performance.
You know, I was amused at Nick Cage trying to get Kathleen Turner to stop being so thirsty for him. It reminded me of Vincent D'Onofrio and Mystic Pizza.
Yes. We love D'Onofrio, though.
Kathleen Turner looking quite attractive as she's doing her homework to classical music. I was like, I wish girls were still like that these days. Quietly doing their homework in the bedroom to some Pavlovian dances. Whew.
They're like, how do we get
Mercy
Patrick
me. Oh, my.
Sofia Coppola plays Peggy Sue's little sister. Sofia would later direct Kathleen Turner in The Virgin Suicide.
You know, I've been doing a lot of these. These are very popular in the vertical soap opera world these days. These storylines of like a woman going back in time to like relive her past, and then like she learns a lesson. But usually she changes things so that she gets to be rich and too. So should have studied this movie as I was working on those to get some ideas, I guess. But it's not high school anymore because everybody goes to college now. So
Yeah.
that's what we do. Also, you don't get to do a lot of period-specific stuff because they don't have the budgets for it. Take some of the fun out.
Yeah, I thought the 60s, when they go back to 1960, it was they got all the cars, and it looked, I guess it wasn't as hard as it is now to make everything look old-fashioned back then.
Right, you're going back 25 years.
Yeah. Still quite a bit. This film made Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert's best films of 1986. Gene Siskel placed at number 5, and Roger Ebert placed at number 9.
I would like to see their lists.
Well, let me see if I can pull it up for you.
Pull up those lists.
Talk.
If Kathleen Turner wanted to feel less nervous about going to her 25th annual high school reunion, I would suggest she not wear a giant aluminum foil retro futurist dress. I think that might have helped. But it seemed like the writers needed that for the sake of when she wakes up, she's confused or she's not surprised to be in different clothing, right? And everybody believes that she's in the right outfit because she's in an outfit from the 60s, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I found him.
Give it to me.
Gene Siskel, from 10 to 1. The Fly, Round Midnight, Children of a Lesser God, Platoon. I don't like that. Put Blue Velvet under Peggy Sue Got Married. Blue Velvet, that's one of my faves. Peggy Sue Got Married, number 5. Mona Lisa, number 4. Not Mona Lisa Smiles. Mona Lisa with Bob Hoskins. A Room with a View. Vagabond, and number 1, Hannah and Her Sisters.
Man.
Roger Ebert, number 10, Hard Choices. Number 9, Peggy Sue Got Married. Number 8, Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Trouble in Mind. Vagabond. Lucas. Sid and Nancy. Number 3, Hannah and Her Sisters. Number 2, Round Midnight. And number 1, Platoon.
No Blue Velvet at all.
Rude. I don't think he got Lynch at first, though. I think he even said that later on. He was like, I don't get Lynch.
I am sort of surprised at how different their top 10s are. Not surprised. I enjoy that fact. I'm glad that there isn't a great deal of overlap. But also, both lists sound very underwhelming.
Strange.
So, just 80s. 80s being the 80s. Nothing great happening. I'm not surprised. But let's talk Jim, right? We briefly discussed it, but...
Oh, yes, Jim.
How's Jim doing in this?
Jim is good. I thought this, besides Finders Keepers, this is my second favorite Jim Carrey we've covered so far.
Yeah, I think he's, it's a very down-to-earth performance, but, they sometimes let him do a little bit of his stuff.
I just want to know how the hell he got on set for this.
He makes the funny face joke thing when they're talking about when the woman's talking to the nerd, and they're like, what's going on there? And he gets to do some of his funky body things when they're doing the musical number together. So, he was utilized enough. His character wasn't a big factor in all of it.
Yeah.
How did he get on set for this? Yeah, that's a good question. He's like, damn, What's Bitten was great.
Because he's just some random Canadian guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
I don't know.
Who
Maybe
saw that?
Well, Francis Ford Coppola is sort of trying to relax, have a little vacation, stops by a Club Med. And you know what pops on as soon as he turns on the TV?
Club Med.
He goes, wow, this Copper Mountain movie, what's going on here? I dig these tunes. Oh, look, this guy's trying to do funny impressions. Interesting.
What is this band? I got to put this band in my new movie. Oh, kind of getting sick of this band. Maybe I don't need to put him in my new movie.
Yes.
Wow, really don't want to ever hear from this band again. This is him watching the movie, by the way. Steve Guttenberg was considered for the role of Charlie.
I buy it.
In his, well, yeah, because it's the fucking 80s. In his biography, The Gutenberg Bible, Steve recounts that he spent most of his audition time questioning Francis Ford Coppola about the making of The Godfather. Seems like a bad idea to do that.
Yeah, but you know...
Get the role first, Steve.
What a great idea for a book title.
The Gutenberg Bible.
Top-notch autobiography name there.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know what's going on in the Gutenberg world. Are you a fan of Steve Gutenberg?
I don't think you can be a fan of Steve. He just like is there. You can't like him.
I think
you can't
can
hate
be
him.
A fan. He's been in plenty of things.
Yeah, but he himself is not fanable. He doesn't have a thing. It's weird. Yeah, he just is there.
How about this one for the role of Charlie? Dennis Quaid turned down the role of Charlie.
So many people turning down this movie.
This movie is fine.
It's like they saw what we saw, which is meh. But the critics were engulfed in meh in 1986. I guess they went meh. Okay.
The critics were mostly engulfed in meh because it was the 80s, and I'm really agreeing with you, with the exception of 3 directors. Those 3 directors are free and clear of any bad 80s vibes. Thank you.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question.
I'm on trial right now for that.
All right, the movie poster. Yeah, I don't know. I guess she's like looking through the keyhole at what could have been.
Is that... Wait, what?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Oh, I just saw some... That's a big spoiler. I'm not ruining that for you in 2014 movie that we cover.
Okay, great.
So, just so you know, a year from now, I said something to you.
All right, Lev, yeah, keep that tape aside, I guess, for the future.
Hold on. Do I have more information? Oh, I got one more thing. Peggy Sue Got Married was halted in mid-production due to Nicolas Cage's controversial acting choices for his character's strange voice and appearance. It sounds like Kathleen Turner should not have been sued for anything because it sounds like she was right in every single sentence that she wrote.
He just seems like a guy that would see a dog on the street and scoop him up. I really do believe that.
He'd be like, mine now. He's young. He's a kid. He's not like a middle-aged adult. He's like a child. And his uncle is like one of the most powerful filmmakers in Hollywood. Studio executives, shocked at the early footage, flew to location to plead with Francis to immediately rein in or replace his nephew. Cage originally wanted to play the Richard Norvik nerd character played by Barry Miller instead of the romantic leading man, as he felt it would better display his acting range. As shooting progressed, Miller's performance was transitioning the screenplay's more comical and stereotypical nerd character into a much more complex and dramatic figure, resulting in a direct order from the studio to reshoot several scenes, as well as the ending of the film, to make Miller's character more romantically appealing and sympathetic to the audience in the wake of Cage's attempt to turn the romantic leading role into a more eccentric and bizarre personality. It sounds like Nicolas Cage warped this movie around him, which is what he would do later on in his career.
Yes.
If I was the director that had made Apocalypse Now and was dealing with a bunch of bigger personalities, I would be like, hey, nephew, get the fuck out of here. Not now.
Take out the teeth or you're not getting dinner.
Stop doing that weird thing with your voice. Stop it, Nicky. Because he definitely calls him Nicky on set.
For all of the people out there that always bother me and they say, when are you going to do a Nick Cage season? Now you know why we aren't.
I mean, if we did a Nick Cage season, could you imagine the stories we would find?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Did you... So... I noticed this when Kathleen Turner said it. While visiting 1960, Peggy Sue warns her sister about eating red M&Ms. Why?
I didn't know they were M&Ms. I thought it was some candy and some joke I wasn't going to get because I was too far from the time it mattered.
Well, red M&Ms were discontinued in 1976 when red number 2 dye was named as a suspected carcinogen. In 1986, after the film was released, red M&Ms were reintroduced with a different red dye.
Well, I can see why I didn't realize any of that.
Well, now we get that joke. Hey! Maybe we didn't understand the jokes because they were time sensitive.
Yeah, oh wow, who would have thought? Maybe that's why the movie's just so dated.
Yeah, the movie is a little dated, right? That's true.
It's gotta be.
Wait, does Coppola have a new movie coming out that's after Megalopolis?
Megalopolis 2, Electric Boogaloo.
It's called The Glimpses of the Moon. Is that real? How can that be real? How old is he? 85.
Younger than Clint. He can still make movies.
He's got 8 years to catch up to Clint. He's got plenty of time to make one movie.
All right. Well, you got last looks on this.
Last looks. Jim, you're great at doing the background character thing. Let's see if we can like push you up a little more up front and with these big wigs, you know? These big Hollywood guys. Let's see if we can get you. Hey, I got a guy for you. And I cut it off because that's the answer will be to our next film in 2 weeks.
Okay. My last looks.
What's your last looks?
I think Nick Cage stole that dog.
I have a hard time disagreeing with you. I bet he did. Sorry. I love Nick Cage, but I bet he did.
That is a hill I am going to die on for the rest of my life. I will always think of him as Chihuahua thief.
You know what? Kathleen Turner was almost ready to die on that hill too, but then she got sued. Go on.
Hashtag leave Kathleen Turner alone. Is that a joke anyone would get? The leave Britney alone guy? If I'm like, leave Kathleen alone.
Wow.
Are we super dated on that?
Is that as old as our podcast?
No, that's even older. That was like we were in high school, I think.
Jesus. We are old.
All right. Why does Jim Carrey do this movie? Well, maybe he wanted to ask Francis Ford Coppola a lot about the making of The Godfather.
No, that was Guttenberg. Carrey knew his place. He was supposed to be quiet.
Why is he this movie? Because he's working with Francis Ford Coppola, the maker of one of the most artsiest films America's ever made, and simultaneously the most highest grossing film it's ever made. Like, it's the marriage of everything, of course.
He made two of the greatest movies ever, and they came out within like 6 months of each other. I'm talking about The Godfather and Conversation. Yeah.
So, like, the guy knows how to make a movie, you would think.
Godfather Part 2. Sorry.
Based on that. Yeah, we know. The real film goers know what you're talking about, Joe.
Thank you.
So, why would you... It doesn't matter what role. He could have gotten the annoying reporter girl. He'd take it. Like, it doesn't matter.
The annoying reporter girl.
And he found a role that does let him do a little bit of his Jim Carrey stuff. He's doing it well. He's quietly present, but also like, I don't know, yeah, like he's like, if Nick Cage wanted to do whatever he was doing for a minor role, kind of okay. You give it a little personality, right? That's what Jim Carrey kind of does with his quirky mannerisms. His character has a little personality to it. It's not like, because Kathleen Turner's got the friend with the really nerdy glasses and she's dating like just some dude. That's just some dude to me. Jim Carrey has a personality. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy. Like, I kind of get it. So, makes sense to me. So, good choices Jim Carrey made there. We have no idea how Francis Ford Coppola could have known about him. Sex and Violence, Murder, Family Hour. Sex and Murder, whatever it is.
Yes, try to say that one 5 times fast.
Who knows? But good pair up for them. It's a good opportunity for Jim. He definitely made the most of this small role. All right. I'd like to thank Lev Van Rensselaer for minding those audio boards and keeping us sound so slippery smooth. I'd like to thank my co-host Joe Vekeman for stopping by.
Oh, thank you for having me.
And I am your host, Patrick Scale. You can find my features, documentaries, short films, video essays, animations, behind-the-scenes footage, and so much more at QuixoticUnited.com and social media, presumably with similar-sounding names. Thank you all for listening. Joe, say goodnight.
Good night.
Do you know our friends at Tubi conducted a survey?
Did they? Those little bastards.
They found that 74% of millennials and Gen Zers prefer to watch original content rather than franchises or remakes. Do you believe that? That doesn't sound right to me.
Gen Z
And millennials.
and millennial.
It just seems if that were true,
Yeah.
there would be a lot more of it, right?
Well, when was it conducted?
Somewhat recently, I'm guessing.
Yes, me too. I think it's actually happened. This year is the real test for it, though, because this is the first year that there's only one Marvel movie coming out. And it's not even like a proper Marvel movie because it's a Deadpool movie. So it's not like I mean, they are moving Deadpool into the Marvel. God, I want to throw up saying this cinematic universe. Because the trailer came out yesterday. God, does it look weak? I'm sorry. I'm so over it. I wanted it so badly when I was growing up, and I'm like, ugh, stop, enough. We've seen enough. End it.
Here's a quote from them. Viewers are increasingly seeking fresh and innovative ideas that push the boundaries of what's possible instead of rehashed versions of existing stories. Doesn't that also sound false? 71% of those 74% independent and small-time creators is what they want content produced by. They want to feel like they're directly supporting the creators. That I buy. They like that. That's kind of the internet culture-y Patreon thing.
Yeah.
A nearly equal percentage say that they value diversity and representation among creators who populate content on streaming services. And 89% want a library that offers a wide array of content. That I also believe.
Yes.
Want true crime stories, classic Hollywood, one-season wonders, The Class.
God.
Here's when everything does start making sense to me. The study also says viewers primarily tune in to their streamers to fuel their nostalgia. 96% of streaming audiences surveyed want quality nostalgic content like The Office or Friends that's always on TV. They can binge endlessly on a lazy Sunday show. There's a push and pull for a desire for new and old. So I buy that.
Let me tell you what. Then I want to hear what your primary viewing habits are, because I'll tell you mine really quick. I'll give you a 5-minute rundown. My weekend was mostly consumed with watching wrestling and basketball.
Well, those sound like original programs. In fact, there's very few reruns in those.
Well, I mean, I could go back and watch an old wrestling show on Peacock, but I chose not to.
All right, well, basketball playoffs started, right? You got any updates for us?
Well, the Celtics won their first game.
Good work, green team.
They did excellent. They were going against the Miami Heat, which is actually one of their big playoff rivals. Which I'm like, they kind of buzzsawed through them a little bit, especially in the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter, Tatum was like, "Oh well, you know what? We got a little relaxed." And I'm like, "Yeah, enough of that shit. Stop getting relaxed in the fourth quarter. That's when you fucking fail, dude." They've had so many fourth quarter turnovers where they're just like, I guess we're doing so good, so we can just put our second. No, our second string's too good. Let's put our third string in there. And I'm like, guys, no, you're going up against one of the greatest teams in your league. Stop doing this shit. It drives me crazy. They get such an advantage in the first 3 quarters, and then they're just like, 12 minutes. What can you really do in 12 minutes? Apparently turn the entire fucking game around, and it always happens to them. And I'm like, stop. I'm sorry. That was I got really into that. Sorry.
It's okay. I do it all the time.
That was you do. Interesting. But you do it with football.
I just rant about anything. We got a whole clip show about it, in fact.
It was good. So yeah, I watched mostly new stuff, but in my when I go to my streaming services like Tubi and whatever the hell else I'm looking, whatever is like available, mostly like Max because they have old, like good old stuff. It's just trying to go through filmographies, and if it's not that, then it's like work for the show that we're doing, and then if it's not that, then I guess I will watch something like. Because I don't watch new shows. I've given up on that. It's too much work to get invested in something and then try to come back to it a year later and it's only like 6 episodes. So I'm like, I only watched this for probably like 3 weeks because I wanted to probably watch it more together. And then when I watch it, it's either, well, that was a single experience, so now the show's over. It was just a limited series. Or I have to try to remember what happened about a year ago in a show that I was half invested in and probably like on my phone most of the time. It's terrible. TV's terrible now. I've given up on it. And then movies. I saw Abigail. We got to talk about. Did you see it yet?
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it yet.
Are you excited to see it?
No, but I'm going to see it. I'm going to see it with my friend where we watch trashy horror films together.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not bad, but that trailer.
Well, listen, our goal isn't for imaginary. We just want something, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It's just like, your popcorn horror nonsense.
Yeah, no. They have that sector of movies is definitely needed. And I appreciate it. It's good to turn off your brain and just enjoy some shit. I'm glad you do that. But I'm pissed off at that fucking trailer.
Okay.
That's it. And that's all I'm going to say until you watch it.
All right. Well, my viewing habits is I mostly, as you know, watch old sitcoms.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
But, I'm not doing it for nostalgia because I'm not a big fan of that. In fact, I'm doing it because they are good and worth watching, and with you, there's nothing currently on TV that I'm interested in any. Sometime during the pandemic, all the sitcoms I were watching that were live pretty much ended. I guess Fox is still putting out The Simpsons. I keep up with them, and I'll catch up on Bob's Burgers time to time, but the live sitcoms, they've kind of, I don't know, but what is there? There's So Help Me Todd and Ghost and...
So Help Me Todd?
Yeah. I'm not doing any of those.
These are new to me.
People will sometimes recommend Abbott Elementary to me.
I've heard that one.
Maybe. I don't know. It does that mockumentary thing I'm less interested in. I've watched a little bit of the what's his name? Who's the soup guy? What's his name?
Joel McHale?
Joel McHale. He's got a new show. I've been meaning to kind of take a peek at that. I just haven't got it. So I'm watching the old sitcoms mostly out of necessity because that's all that's left for me to when I want to watch a sitcom where people are laughing and also it's good. That's what I want to watch.
You're watching it probably out of comfort and studying.
I just enjoy. It's funny. It still makes me laugh. I like amusing sitcoms. Currently. In the mornings, I'll watch the Drew Carey show. Mm-hmm. While I'm doing chores around the house, I'll throw on The Simpsons. And for dinner, maybe it'll be Futurama, maybe it'll be Ray Romano. But these are also
sounds
shows.
Like cable.
The Drew Carey show, obviously, I've turned on recently. But Ray Romano, I haven't watched that in 8 years. So it's
holy shit.
It's kind of fresh, right? I went through the whole season at some point when it was on Netflix. It's not on Netflix anymore, but that was, I don't know, 2015 or something. So it's been a while. So now let's see.
10 years ago now.
Yeah, when I was first started rewatching the Drew Carey show when that guy had HD'd it, I hadn't gone back and watched it all since 2017. Right before Romano, I was doing Becker, which I don't think I'd ever watched straight through. So. And then before that was New Adventures of Old Christine. So I'm just going back and let's see if these are better than I remember. And they were, and they are, and because I'm older, obviously, and get more of the jokes and stuff. And yes, there is a level of studying, right? Because I like sitcoms, and I want to write kind of sitcoms, although it doesn't seem like those are the types of shows that they make anymore. It's a little sad. As for movies, I go a lot with my gut. I don't know, just at some point, like, I've come across something somewhere on the line, and my gut says we gotta watch that. So I'm not even really, like, scrolling for movies in any of my streaming services. I'm like, I wonder what mood I'm in. Unless I'm editing the podcast or doing something that doesn't require a lot of attention, and I'm like, what trash does Tubi have for me today?
Yeah, Tubi's great with that.
And they sure do have a lot of that. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, or if I do watch a remake, I'm usually watching that to study. Like, when I knew I was going to see Ringu at the theater, I'm like, well, let me go see the American version and see what the difference. Like, then it becomes more of a studying, like, why does some things work and some things don't? When we did Flatliners for the Julia Roberts season, I wanted to see what the new people did, because I wanted to see how, like, Hollywood development strategies change, what their goals were, you know, how 25 years might affect what they think audiences want. That's where it's not because I want to. I'm like, ooh, another Flatliners. Wow, I don't think they're gonna do remakes right. I don't think they're gonna do the Lego sequels right. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you there.
I also think we are burnt out on Lego sequels. I think that's what that survey is also saying, because what was like a recent one that was like, ugh, terrible. Well, like I thought they kind of hit something well with the new Scream movie, and then they tried to do it again in the sequel to that one, and I'm like, less returns. But I mean, I like those ones, but they're fine.
Like, we got this new Twister movie coming out. I'm not going to see that.
Well, I'm slightly more on board with Twisters, though, because Glenn Powell is a snack, and that guy, he's great. That guy's going to show up in everything this summer. Are we excited? Kind of.
It's like the summer of Stiller.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Because, first, Glenn Powell will be in Hitman, Richard Linklater movie on Netflix. Then, like, about 3 weeks later is Twisters. And then I think about a month later he has something else coming out, but I'm not sure. I feel like I'm forgetting something else like big that he's got coming out this year. But he's doing great. He's like our new movie star.
At least all the studios seem to have taken stock in this Tubi survey and thus have decided, let's reboot The Office. So, good for us.
Oh, that's where this was ending? Oh, God. Damn.
Yeah. Well, but let's do the show. That'll cheer us up.
Yeah. All right, let's do it.